All right, we're back for another episode of the Mortgage Broker Podcast. And today, again, we're following the same theme that we did on our last episode, where we're actually going to take you to stage from our Ascend Mortgage Conference, our annual conference that we do every year at a Better Way Mortgage Group. And this one was probably the hit of the day. This was our Realtor panel, Jason Marshall, who handled the panel on stage. And again, we're going to pass you to stage shortly here, but we just want to add a few comments around the panel and you know the concept of it. So with that, Derek will just touch on how that went and ultimately what we were focused on there. But I just want to thank first and foremost the panelists, Ty Corsi, Ali Ballum, Chase Shimku, and Mike Mafori for just bringing the honest truth and delivering some really good content and some great takeaways. And I'll share one of those takeaways just before we pass it to Jason. But yeah, Derek, maybe you can kind of just jump in and share kind of your lens and the concept of the panel.
Yeah, certainly one of the best segments of the conference. It's a little bit longer, but make sure you stay tuned because there's tidbits all the way till the end. What I really liked about it is, realtors are one of the largest referral sources in the mortgage industry. Everyone's working with a handful of realtors, and this session really honed in on what these realtors are looking for from the partnership with a mortgage broker. And I think that's always been a bit of an unknown in our industry: is what should we do? How should we call? When should we communicate? And they really go deep on the needs and wants from a high producing agent. So stay tuned. There's a lot to unpack here. And like I said, one of the best segments of the day.
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest takeaway for me, which was pretty eye-opening, is Ty Corsi, so one of probably the most prominent realtors in the Lower Mainland, Vancouver, Fraser Valley area. I would say he's probably funded over 1,000 transactions in his career. He made a comment that he's never heard from a mortgage broker when he was the listing agent. So, think of the mortgage broker doing the transaction for the buyer. One of our call points when we were brokering was to reach out to the listing agent and introduce ourselves as, the team that was helping the buyer's agent. And we would typically do that at, let's say, when subjects were removed or the file was broker complete, so we could, give that good news and reach out to the realtor as just a warm touch point. Just him making that comment that he's never heard from a broker as a listing agent was pretty eye-opening to us, and it just, gleamed a huge opportunity for brokers to, make those calls, make those touch points, and I'll leave it to him to explain that. But he's very open to receiving those calls, and I think that's just back to something we've talked about a lot, where like the phone is just the heaviest item on your desk, and people are just reluctant to pick it up. So that was just the one takeaway from my side of things. But to Derek's point, there's a ton of tidbits here. Definitely listen through to the end, and I guarantee you'll get at least a few takeaways from this one. So we'll pass off to Jason, and hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Mortgage Broker Podcast, tailor-made for Canadian mortgage industry professionals. Proudly presented by a Better Way Mortgage Group, this podcast is your trusted source for insider insights, market updates, and strategies to elevate your career in the ever-evolving world of mortgage brokering. Whether you're a seasoned broker with a Better Way Mortgage Group or an industry enthusiast looking to stay ahead, our episodes are designed to empower you with the knowledge and tools you need to excel in the Canadian mortgage space.
So we have an awesome realtor panel. We have some of the best realtors in the industry in general, and we're thrilled to have them up here. So I'm going to call them up one by one. First, I'm going to start with Ty Corsi. Licensed in 2003 and proudly following in his father Dan's footsteps, Ty's built an exceptional real estate career grounded in integrity, dedication, and a deep passion for helping others. His unwavering work ethic and commitment to excellence have earned him a remarkable 95% based referral business. Consistently ranked in the top 1% of brokers within the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board, Ty is a leader in the industry. His innovative marketing strategies and global exposure techniques, paired with his expertise in social media, sold by Ty, ensure his clients' properties stand out in today's competitive market. So thank you for coming. Next up, we have Chase Shimku. Chase is the proud founder and partner at McCarthy Shimku & Associates. He's earned a reputation for excellence and community commitment. Voted your favorite realtor by Maple Ridge News and Times. He's also a multi-year recipient of the prestigious Chairman's Club Award and was recognized as Canada's top 35 under 35 professionals in 2023. He's more than a top-performing agent. He's a true community advocate, actively involved in coaching, local sports, and various initiatives. He brings heart and purpose to everything he does. For him, real estate isn't just a career, it's about building lasting relationships that continue long after the possession date. Thank you for coming, Chase. Next up, we have Mike Marfori. Mike's an award-winning real estate professional with a track record of excellence in the Fraser Valley. A Fraser Valley Real Estate Medallion recipient every year for the past 10 years. He's also earned the Platinum Masters Award and the coveted President's Club distinction, which is reserved for the region's #1 team. Known for his genuine commitment to helping families and his sharp grasp of market trends, Mike has remained the top 1% for over a decade. He's been honored multiple times as the #1 listing agent, reflecting his strategic and marketing skills and results-driven focus. Thank you, Mike. And last but certainly not least, we have Ali Balam. Ali is a distinguished real estate advisor and investor, proudly affiliated with Engel & Volkers. With over a decade of industry experience, she's widely recognized for her strategic negotiation skills and in-depth market knowledge. As co-founder of the Amy and Ali team, she has played a pivotal role in driving over $1 billion in global real estate sales. Under her leadership, the business has evolved far beyond the scope of traditional real estate. What began as an ambitious initiative, their cross-border program has now become a transformative model for international investment. This program empowers investors to confidently navigate dynamic markets such as Scottsdale, Los Cabos, and Tulum, offering a clear roadmap to achieving financial freedom through smart, globally minded investments. This pairs very well with our announcement yesterday for our U.S. lending program. So we're going to give Ali a couple minutes to speak about her cross-border program towards the end of this. So once again, guys, thank you so much for coming out. So as I mentioned, I mean, the goal really for this session is to get our brokers in front of some of the top real estate professionals and really work on how do we collaborate better? And what does it really mean to form a great partnership with your real estate agents? And how can we help our clients find financial success down the road? So I kind of want to open this up with an icebreaker question. And you know, the more I thought about this question, I thought it was an easy one, but it's actually a little bit difficult. Maybe I'll start with you, Ali. Is what is exciting you the most in 2025 when it comes to a real estate trend?
The excitement is there's a lot of deals to be had right now. I think a lot of us know like there's a lot of investment opportunities coming down the pipeline. We've seen a lot of assignments come our way, which, you know, clients that bought in 2022, 2021, where they're completing now, there are opportunities to get it at what they paid for it, just so they can't lose their deposits. So I would say that's exciting. I mean, it's not great for them, but it is really good for our investors, which we primarily work with.
Great, great. How about yourself, Mike?
I think it's going back to the basics of just making an impression with your clients, right? We were so blessed this last couple of years with how the market was, and now we have to actually work. And I feel like having that connection with the clients, going back to the basics, understanding what's important to them, it's going to really help us push forward through this tough time.
Now, for yourself as a continual top producer, was going back to the basics challenging, or was that just kind of rinse and repeat from what you were doing in the past?
I think it's change may be tough for everyone, but we've been through these tough times. It's like muscle memory, right? It's like going back to what we know was best for our clients, and that's just giving the experience, right? So that's what I think.
Great. And Ty, how about yourself?
Yeah, I would say for me, what I see opportunity in the market, but opportunity in building your brand. You know, this is the time to stand out. You know, I consistently continue to do the basics, which I started, which is mail out Monday, 10,000 flyers every single Monday. You know, I stick with that. But building your brand in this market, you remember people used to send out, your mailbox would be full, your Instagram feed would be full. Right now, people peel back. They don't do as much. So I think if I was to give you a tip of advice, double down and your brand will stand out even more. That's the opportunity.
Awesome. Great advice. Chase, over the end.
So I would be probably similar to Ty there and what he said. I think you're going to see a bit of a small reset and like a shakeup. And I think our industries with realtors are similar to brokers. And the part-timers, you're going to kind of trim the fat. You're going to see guys get out of the business. And for us, that's really an opportunity to strike in a way. And even the market's slow and listings are stacking up, they're not selling, we continuously double down on our marketing. So this is, I think, where the good people will shine.
What are your expectations in the realtor and the broker relationship? Like, what qualities do you guys look for when you're partnering with a mortgage professional? Anyone can take the lead here.
I'll jump in. For me, what I look for is the consistent, constant communication. If you're not letting me know what's going on consistently, that's a problem. My client needs to be able to find you easily. So some of the top mortgage brokers that are out there, they're big on social. And when your client can look you up and I can recommend you and they can type in a couple words and find you pretty easily, I think that's a very easy, impactful way to develop that relationship pretty quickly. So that's what I look for. I want you to be easy to find and give me tons of communication.
Communication is a big one. I find sometimes when we're dealing with a mortgage broker that we don't know, it's like the 9th hour and we're like, okay, what's going on? We've sent 2 or 3 emails. The broker's not dealing with it. It's actually that, someone else on their team is dealing with it and we don't know who that contact is. And then it's like 2 or 3 hours and we're like, okay, we got to send subject removal. Like it's like 10 o'clock, it's crazy. So I would say same thing, communication throughout the whole process is key, and working with the one person that you're dealing with from start to finish.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my next follow-ups is consistency of communication. Like for you guys, is there too much communication from the broker at times or too little? Like when do you want them communicating with you? Is there important touch points and parts through that process that fit you better?
Yeah, communication obviously key, but we've seen this recently. What I like best is the systemized stuff. So I've been fortunate enough to kind of work with Dean and Derek at the beginning of my careers and their careers, and when they were at Thrive in a better way, they had almost the automated emails. So a client would submit their documents and you just get an email that says, okay, here's the status of it. So I can take a quick look. It takes me 10 seconds and then, usually delete that email. I go, okay, I haven't talked to my client. I know they're submitting documents. I know it is underway. We've worked with some other brokers who seem great at their job and they've almost over communicated. They've called me every 2 days going, hey, just so you know, I've submitted to this lender and this is their income and this is that and it's just, as busy professionals, I think we want communication, but not over communication where they're almost trying to sell that they know how to do their job to me. And I'm kind of going, well, thanks for the update, but there's 10 minutes on just running back end stuff, just kind of the Coles notes. For me, that's why we love the systemized emails where it's automated. It keeps us informed, but it's not sucking up our time as well.
Yeah, and I have to imagine when you're working with somebody that has that process, that consistency, like when you're referring one of your clients to a broker that has that sort of process in place, you know exactly what to expect every time you're sending them a client. So I'm going to go a bit off script because it's just kind of popped into my mind is you guys are well-established realtors, of course, and I'm sure you have multiple broker connections. Are you ever open to having new brokers calling you to try to establish and build a relationship? And does that happen? Because I'd be curious to know if you actually do have brokers calling you. And if they do, are you willing to take on new partnerships?
I know I am. I feel like mortgage brokers that come with me to an open house and show value, show the mortgage rates. I think that's really important. I feel like people want to know if they're pre-approved on the spot. I think that process gives a good clarity of where they stand if, they're not working with a mortgage broker. So yeah, I think that if someone were to call me and they're a new broker, yeah, I'd take that call for sure.
That's very interesting. I mean, I've heard mixed reviews on the realtors wanting brokers to attend open houses or joint events with them. Is that something that you guys collectively would agree that would be a value add from a broker?
I think it would, yeah. I haven't done that in probably 7 or 8 years. I also probably haven't had any mortgage broker that's reached out to come to an open house, so maybe that's why. But I would be open to it, absolutely, right? Because then it just starts a conversation and, they can go over, certain material like Mike was saying with the buyer that's coming through the door.
I mean, I would like to highlight that point just for all of the brokers in the room, especially the newer ones that are looking to establish relationships with new partners. Not one broker has reached out asking if they can attend an open house. That's a fairly simple thing for us to do because we're adding a value piece to that. So I would kind of put that as one of my takedowns is reach out, put the offer out there, put yourself out there and see if you can get in front of a great partner and potentially some great clients. So I kind of want to go into successful collaboration. Can you guys identify any certain times where a really good partnership and collaboration with a broker has helped get a deal across the line where you guys have really worked together? Can you identify a specific success story? Ty?
Yeah, for certainly, like there was a few other things I wanted to say on the previous topics. If I could give everybody a tip in this room, it would be any realtor that you see doing an open house on Instagram, create a little Canva ad, show 10% down, 5% down, 20% down, email it to them and say, can you bring these and print these off? I made some nice stuff. You bring to your open house. Not one person does that to me. I've done 25 years of real estate, 2,000 transactions. Not one realtor sent that, or one mortgage broker sent that. I think it would be great if you could do that. In all of my career, I've had one mortgage broker come to an open house, and he came unannounced, which I'll never forget. He came in with a Tim Hortons steep tea box with 10 cups, and he said he was fresh and new. He was nervous. He said, can I join your open house? And I never forgot that. I sent him 10 plus deals within that year. It's a small token. People don't do it anymore. I think that client interaction, that human interaction is a lot less. Do that stuff. We love it. I think it was great. I never forgot that story.
Not a bad return on investment for a cup of coffee.
One thing I would say is, like, last week I had 4 mortgage brokers reach out to me. Not once did they say, oh, can I come to your open house? I mean, we have 4 coming up this weekend, right? Not once did they say, can I come to your open house? They said, hey, I know I'm new and I would love to, like, see if you're open to send referrals my way. 4, meet for coffee and send me referrals. That's what the conversation was.
Well, you seem to hit a button here.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? But, like, of course we'd love to help, but it's like, there's nothing, what's incentivizing me? Like, hey, I want to come to your open house. I want to bring some goodies. I want to be able, like, there's got to be value add.
Steep tea.
Steep tea gets you in the door.
Value add.
Yeah, and if I could add something on that, I agree with the open house thing because you got to get in front of people. I do get calls from random brokers all the time, and that's just a voice on the phone saying, hey, how can I help you? There's no personal touch. There's no relationship. So I know a lot of brokers are going to the video emails where they're videoing themselves talking. That's good. That's a bit more personal. For me, I don't really have the time to go to coffee with a new broker. So going to that open house, you're going to be in front of a realtor and be able to sell yourself, or have that video email. And I have pretty, strong allegiances with the brokers I work with. So honestly, I probably wouldn't be taking on a new broker, but I do get calls from them all the time. And usually my answer is, because I run a big team, I go, send me something, send me some info, or do this, or you can come by the office if you want. Because I recommend to my team members that they build their own relationships. I have my core 2 or 3, but they'll likely want to build their own as well. So even though a veteran agent, 15, 20 years, you're going to assume they might already have their core set up that you can't break into. If they have a team, there may be opportunities there as well. So just want to kind of add that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, I think anything that we do, whether it's a realtor, your clients, you have to bring some sort of value to the table and not just reach out to Ty or Chase or Mike or Ali and say, hey, give me referrals. What are you providing back to them? And so I kind of want to talk a little bit about, trying to get the brokers into your shoes as realtors. What are sort of the biggest challenges that you face when there's delays in financing, or the transaction and the approval on the broker side isn't going so smoothly? Like, what challenges do you pose when you're interacting with your clients when those scenarios come up?
I would just say what we've been having difficulty with lately is first-time homebuyers. For some reason, we're working a lot with them lately, and which is wonderful, and we love helping first-time homebuyers. But when they're working with a busy mortgage broker that's been in the business for, say, 15, 20 years, and they're not going over the basic steps with them, and they're assuming that they already know what to expect, that's the problem we're having. They're coming to us for questions that their mortgage broker should be answering for them. So.
Yeah, I love that, Ali. I think for some challenges that we face with mortgage brokers, when it comes to the opposite side. So if you're a listing agent, you are totally handcuffed. You have no clue of what's happening on the other side. I think it is genius for you to send an email saying, hi, my name's Mike. I work with, ABC Mortgage Referral and Corp, and I'm on the other side. Just introduce yourself to let the other realtor know that somebody's there. We don't have any communication. We don't know what's going on. I know you can't say any personal information, but to let us know that you're taking care of that buyer goes a mile.
That's a really good tip. Show of hands, how many of us are doing that, which is reaching out to the listing agent That's pretty good, actually.
And if I could add something there, just we saw this a lot in the multiple offer time, and I would say a lot of times I actually had to ask for this, but making it routine of your business is a pre-approval letter. You don't have to put their rate and how much, because that could obviously skew your negotiations tactics. But sending that to the buyer's agent, hey, here's a pre-approval letter. So that buyer's agent has a quick one-page PDF that they can send in with their offer. It's just like a personal letter with an offer. It's just going to help. It's just going to help. We ask for those things. Sometimes we've been given, but I would say a lot of times, like 80% of the time, we never see a pre-approval letter.
And when the deal's actually on the line and we're kind of coming down to the final, is the financing going to be in place or whatever part of the deal's in, if it's really on the line, how can the broker best support you? Like my mind goes to just straight, flat communication, honesty. This is where things are at. But is there anything else that they could do to make the situation better or help support you guys as you're both going to be having to deal with the client?
I deal with a lot of sellers right now and listings. So I'm constantly seeing the buyer's agent asking for an extension, right? And that's kind of normal in this market. So what I'm suggesting to the buyer's agent, if they can, provide an email from their broker just stipulating that, we need a day or two, everything's looking good, we just need to get some documents over, but not over promise under deliver, of course, but try to just make everybody at ease that everything's going to be fine, right? I think that's the most important.
Just maybe common misunderstandings that realtors may have of brokers or brokers may have of realtors. Is there anything that you guys can think of that, you would go through your day-to-day and say, you know what, the mortgage broker just doesn't understand this about our process? Is there any misunderstandings that you guys could address? Where my mind goes to is to establish a relationship with a realtor. A lot of brokers feel like they can't work with you unless they have a deal to provide you, or they have to have, like, if they're expecting referrals from you, they have to give something back. And we know it's a little bit more challenging on the broker side to refer business back to the realtor. That would be a misunderstanding that I may have. But is there anything that you guys can kind of touch on that you feel like the brokers just don't fully understand about your day-to-day and how things operate?
For realtors, I know all of us feel the same way. I feel like we give out 10 times the amount of referrals that we get back from a mortgage broker. And I know it's very challenging from a mortgage broker's perspective to give out all of these unrepresented buyers to a realtor, because most people come to a mortgage broker and they have a realtor. So that's just that feeling, we all feel like we just give, and we don't get back as much as we can. And the reality is that that's how it goes. Right? But when I give recommendations of mortgage brokers to my clients, I always give 3 to 4 recommendations. Like I give 3 to 4, make your choice. And there's still lots of doors open for you to sit down and have a chance to be on my email as well. I'm not specifically focused on one person. I'm happy to give 3 or 4 different referrals.
And I agree with that as well. Like I think we all do quite a few deals up here. And I think, even of the, say, 80, 90 plus deals we did last year, Amy and I, not one was from a mortgage broker referral.
Yeah, I think you got to find value in a different way. For me, anyone that I refer business to, a lawyer, a notary, insurance agent, typically, like I don't get any kickbacks. And it's like Ty said, I mean, we don't get a whole lot of referrals back from the broker. Anyone in my network that I refer business to is just because I know they can get it done. So I send it to them, and it's peace of mind for me knowing he's not going to pester me. He's going to give me just the right amount of communication, and the deal is going to get done. So I don't have to worry about the lawyer dropping it, the mortgage broker dropping it. The deal's getting done, which in turn will look good on me.
My thought around that is on your ability to influence clients. So you mentioned that when you have a referral, you're sending it out to 3 or 4 brokers, right? Out of how many referrals that you give out to a broker would you say would fund, or that client would actually use their broker? Like, how much influence do you have as the realtor on that client actually using the broker?
Well, I know for me, I would say it's 50-50, because number one, their clients are very savvy. They're going to be shopping around, and typically they're using maybe their own lender at the bank, but not a mortgage broker. And that's where I come into play and suggest, you know what, it's really important you get more than one person to look at this. And I have a great mortgage broker I can refer you. And 2 heads are better than 1. If we can save you money now, that's great, right? So that's what I would suggest.
I would say we're very similar to Ty. Like we'll send out 2 names, have the conversation with them. Don't get them both to do a pre-approval, but have the conversation with them, see which one you want to work with. And out of those, I would say 100% of the time they choose one of them. I mean, probably 70% of our deals, they're already working with another broker, but out of the ones that we refer, I would say almost every time they choose one of the brokers that we've referred to them.
Well, yeah, I would say I'm the same as Ali. Almost everyone that I give, they would choose one of those people. But again, it's know your audience. I think when it comes to the first topic that we talked about, if I'm going to give somebody that's going to be ultra communicating with somebody, I'm not going to give it to Dan Corsi, my dad, 71 years old. He does not watch a video email. He had to refi on something because he was buying a pre-sale. I don't know what Dad was doing, but he bought this. And so I recommended a mortgage broker. The mortgage broker sends him 10 video updates. And my dad sends me a message saying, my video player doesn't work. Where the hell's the speakers? I can't hear anything. And there was no written update. It was just video email. So know your audience. We cater. If it's a young group couple that loves that stuff, we send it out. But do not send it to Dan Corsi. That could just be the perfect example.
Yeah, and what I find the most is my clients, so I deal with a lot of buy and sells, blue collar family people. Usually the financing isn't an issue. They have stable jobs, their income, their debt is good. So getting it across the line, they're pretty standard deals, I would say. The biggest thing I see is when my clients come to me, they're working with their bank. It's never usually a competition between 2 or 3 brokers. It's usually their bank and then the broker that I'm recommending. And I am becoming more aggressive at just basically saying you should be using the broker. Because honestly, I just tired of dealing with bank reps because they work 3-4 days a week and it's 10 to 2. And but the client does not understand that. All the client sees is interest rate. This is all I hear all day. Well, they can get me a better rate. They can get me a better rate. And I am almost trying to sell my broker in an industry I'm not in, going, well, think about the hours and getting a deal done and getting a hold of them. And there's more to a mortgage than a rate and the penalty and things like that. So from what I'm seeing, that is your competition as a broker, is always the bank rep. Always the bank rep. It's not internally you guys are competing against each other, because that's what I'm seeing. So I would find ways, however, you guys know your industry better than I, of how can I compete, or how can I object to that buyer going, oh, it's not all about rate. What are those 3 quick value adds without overloading them with a bunch of information, because this is also new to them?
I mean, that's a great point. And I would even go further to, Chase mentioning to advise our clients on all of that stuff. But imagine you as the broker talking to a realtor and teaching them all of the stuff that Chase just said. If you're a mortgage professional that has a bunch of chases advocating for a broker over a banker because he knows that you're going to work outside of business hours, that's the stuff that we need to do. You have to build your army of people that are going to advocate on your behalf and tell your clients on your behalf the value of working with a broker as opposed to a bank specialist. So I love that answer. Kind of moving on to improving the client experience. From your guys' lens, what role can a mortgage broker play to improve their clients' overall experience? And I kind of see a lot of this, a lot of our topics is hammering on more of the communication style and just keeping people up to date. But is there anything that you can think of outside of just straight communication that a broker can really do to enhance the client's experience?
Yeah, they could be their counselor. No, but honestly, you guys, I haven't had a really bad experience with a mortgage broker in the last, I can't even think of. You guys are very, very, very good with communication, especially with, I've been using Dean and Derek for so long, and you guys have been really great. But to give a better experience, I think, just knowing your audience, like Ty and Ali said, is just really knowing who you're working with. If it's a first-time home buyer, they're not going to be, very savvy with the whole experience. So just know your audience.
Sometimes our clients may not be as honest with us as they may be with you guys. So from your perspective, what have clients come back to you with from a negative point of view in their experience with a broker? Like, what sort of common feedback do you get that's a negative from a client when it comes to their interactions with a broker?
How much is it going to cost us? Is this person extra? Dean seems like he wears nice shoes. Why am I paying for this? I would just, when it comes to that, people are unsure, of what to do. So it's really challenging in sending the right mortgage broker to the right client. But like as Mike said, and I said, Nally said, Chase said, know who you're talking to. And if it is the Dan, give somebody a little more calmer and chiller, because our referral from you is just getting the job done. Like that's what we want from you. You just do a good job, get it done. That's what we expect, right? And that's what we love.
Hey everyone, Dean here. Quick timeout from the episode to share with you the ABW Tuesday Mortgage Memo, your weekly market highlights sent directly to your inbox every Tuesday. This is certainly one you're not going to want to miss, so make sure to sign up now. You can do so with a link in the show notes, or you can head to joinabw.ca and sign up there. This is a high-level summary of market developments, regulatory updates, and housing trends every Tuesday. So hope you enjoy it, and back to the show.
Kind of want to, again, pivot into more of a business development topic here. Innovative ways that brokers can work with you guys. I know we spoke about open house and, dropping off tea and all of that stuff, which is great. But any innovative ways that a broker could partner with you guys to generate business together, like go out and do things in the marketplace together, as opposed to, hey Chase, call me if you have a deal, and vice versa?
What Amy and I have been doing since 2018, took a little hiatus in 2020, but we do a cash flow game night at our office. We try to do it now. We're getting back on track doing it once a month. So going back to the basics, like Mike was saying and earlier, and we always want someone to come and speak, right? We're always looking for speakers to come. And, we have one coming up in a couple weeks. We had a mortgage broker reach out. We said, yeah, of course you can come. They wanted to sponsor it. So stuff like that. I mean, there's always going to be events that you can do at your realtor's office, even go for like a Monday morning meeting or Tuesday morning meeting, introduce yourself, get to know them better. I think that relationship aspect, it's that interaction that, that one-on-one or even like face-to-face interaction hasn't been there for a long time in this industry. And I think doing that and going back to the basics will do you very, very well, in my opinion.
Anytime you can do the open house stuff or face-to-face is great. I think there's an opportunity with the election being done and the changing marketplace, but also, after COVID, I think the COVID wave was done, and then people got really comfy going, oh, I got all this free time because I can Zoom and I don't have to see people. We recently opened up like a newer brokerage, and what we're finding is people want to do these events again. People want to get together. So I think you're going to see a little bit more of a push of this interaction. And I think there's opportunities for sponsorships too with these brokers, because brokerages, depending on the brokerage, some are just going completely virtual with no contact. But the bricks and mortar are getting back to events where, I'm not saying it's all about throwing money. You're not throwing thousands of dollars, but become a sponsor to some of these brokerages or these realtors who are looking to actually host events and become a crucial face in that. And I think there's another side too with the systemized and the kind of behind the scenes. Like I've had brokers that anytime there was a rate drop, they would actually send me 3 pictures in my Instagram with my logo on it, not their logo, that I can quickly post on Instagram with the rate drop. So I'm like, great, I just literally save this and post it. I'm giving my clients that value. They've made it for me. So now this is engraving value into my head. After the election, I mean, some of this stuff is up in the air, but we got maybe changes on GST. You have new home construction exemptions for property transfer tax, and then first-time buyers. This is very confusing for a lot of them. As a realtor, if you sent me something saying, hey, here are the current rates, next rate announcement is June 24th, the government just brought in a new regulation like this, again, not 2 pages of written. It has to have some graphics. It has to be somewhat cliff notes with your information on the bottom. I would have no problem forwarding that to my clients. So now what you've done is you actually helped me. I don't have to go talk to my lawyer about the new changes. I know what's coming down the pipeline current and in the next 30 days. I'm forwarding this out to my clients. I'm getting value. Who's giving me the value? You're giving me the value. And at the bottom of that is all your branding. So then there's inherent value for that. So I think this is actually a very crucial year for this changing landscape of government. No one knows what's going on with rates. No one knows what's going on with the world. Now is the time to inform people and build that value yourself of being the professional in your industry.
I mean, that's brilliant. Education-based marketing is always the best, right? What can you provide to somebody that they can share with their clients or share with their other partners? I think that goes a long way. Is anyone out here doing that where they're creating stuff and material for their partners to put out? Make 1 or 2 hands, right? So I mean, that to me is a massive takeaway. If you can take any work off of their plate and give realtors or any of your other partners specific value, that's something that we should be doing. I mean, Dean's a Canva expert, but I can't imagine that takes more than 5 minutes to put together.
I have 2 gold nuggets I can leave you with that I thought were genius from a mortgage broker to a realtor. Every single month we do e-newsletters. We do thousands of client e-newsletters. I have mortgage brokers send me hey, you have an upcoming newsletter. Can you take this PDF and embed it in your newsletter? Genius. They created a payment system, shows me where the rates are. I thought that was unbelievable. Had another mortgage broker reach out to me and say, I live in Langley, Ty. I see your flyers every Monday. If you get a listing in Langley, can I contribute to your cost of the flyer and put my name on the flyer at the bottom with a payment structure and a graph of the house? Thought it was genius. I got a couple $100 out of the guy. We partnered up. He's on my flyer. It went out to 5,000 houses in Langley. Like, to me, that's a nugget.
No, absolute no-brainer. And that was going to lead me into my next question. Is I personally, when I look at realtor social media versus mortgage broker social media, of course, there's a few that I think do a really good job on the broker side, but overall, realtors tend to put themselves out there more on social platforms, I find anyways. Do you think that brokers should be leveling up their game in the social media arena, or do you think that there's anything that they should be doing to create more exposure to their clients?
I think creating value. I don't think, just putting nonsense material out there is good just because of doing it. I think it is value-based. So what you're saying in front of the camera that's the most important, right? So when I see like TikTok dances, I'm like, this is retarded. Like, why are you doing this? This is nonsense, right? But when I see actually people showing value, the rates change, anything that we can relate to and be like, oh, that's actually interesting. That's good. A gold nugget. I think that's important. So creating value.
I would say yes, for sure. I mean, Ty does this better than anyone with social media, but I think you're exposing yourself to, tens of thousands of people on the internet, right? Or on Instagram or whatever platform you're using. If not, then you're just using your referral network to get referrals, right? Like, you're just one person. So I think if you do start, obviously make sure it's like purposeful and it's obviously good content, but getting out there, absolutely. I think you need to show show them what you're doing and be present on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, digital marketing gets me excited. I get fired up. I teach courses. I'm involved in a digital marketing company on how to run ads. I don't want you dancing. That's not going to work. But what I do want you doing is educating the clients, and educating the clients regularly. The algorithms are changing immensely on Instagram and Facebook, where if you post something, it only goes to 10% of your audience, 15% of your audience, which is crazy. But if I was able to give you a digital interview, that's what I call it, right? Whenever I sit down at a home evaluation, probably the wife is the one that said to the husband, well, I've been watching this person for so long, like it's in the bag. We can interview 2 other people, but we watch this person in and out. Mortgage brokers should be the same way. When I send out 2 or 3 names, if they can connect with the name that they see online, that's really important to you. A green screen Instagram video is just genius. To have a little house in the background and just say, hey, check this out. Cheapest house in Langley. Payments of only $1,600, $68,000 down. Cheapest house in Langley. To me, that's absolute brilliance for you to get connection, for you to get people reaching out, for you to get hundreds and hundreds of shares, and for people to know your name very quickly.
So Ty, you're the digital marketing expert. I'm sure, and I would speak for myself, there's probably a lot in this room that are like, where do I start? And what's the best place for me to start on? What platform? Is it Facebook? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Instagram? So if you were talking to somebody that just said, hey, Ty, I want to start today with my digital marketing campaign, where would you tell them to start?
So TikTok is younger crowds. I think it's like 24 age and under is the average age for TikTok. That's gone. I don't think you're going to get an average seller from TikTok. That's just my personal opinion. But what I will say is that I'm a huge Instagram fan. I think still it has growth. Long form content, which you guys can educate people on, is definitely YouTube. So that would be a 10-minute plus video. YouTube has years still worth of growth, which is unbelievable. But a quick reel, 60 seconds or less, can be posted on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all just like that. Like just within minutes, it can be posted. So I'm big on the Instagram space, and then I transfer that over to YouTube.
If I can add there, just obviously Ty's the expert, but having a bit of a blend. I mean, people don't want to look at real estate postings all day if they just bought. and they might just mute you or unfollow you. And same with a broker. I would imagine you guys get the same as us, is everyone knows 2 or 3 brokers. Everyone knows 2 or 3 realtors. So first question usually pops into their head, do I like the guy, right? So you have to build that rapport with them over social media, and just, you don't have to be the best of your game, but typically people will use 2 or 3 people and use the person they like the best, as long as they're educated and qualified, right? So become members of your community. That's how we've built our business. I mean, 95% of our business is all in Maple Ridge. If you're from Maple Ridge, you probably know me. If you're not, you probably have no idea who I am. But people will pick you because they know you're in the community, you're helping, you're, maybe doing some sponsorships, and you're good at your job. You don't have to be top 1%. What I found is people do not care about that. Are you real, and are you good at your job?
What content do you guys think is performing best right now? So obviously with the changes in the marketplace and really the world, have you had to pivot your content strategy, and what are you going with now that's working the best?
Well, I look at Ty. His Instagram is awesome. Like, he shows tours of the home, which I admire, and I look up to that. So I think that's something I can do a little bit more. I am who I am, and I'm gonna put the photos of the houses and videos of the listings that I have. I think the most important thing is just be you. Like, everybody's different, right? So what works for Ty may not work for me. And I think it's just being like, hey, you know what? This is authenticity. This is me. I'm genuine. And I want to help you. I think that's the most important thing, is people want to know that you actually care. So by the end of the day, if you show that, they're going to want to use your service.
I think one thing that's worked really well is get away from the just sold. So now it's like a just sold every 10 posts. I think what client stories and showing yourself, being authentic. And one thing that I've started is like little funny realtor parodies, like making fun of realtors. And, like, hi, my name's Ty, and I sit in open houses. I'm a sock watcher. You watch people come in with bare feet. I make a parody of it. And those videos have gone completely viral. And when I go sit down at somebody's table, they don't talk about any of the 1% sales, any of that stuff. They talk about that video you did talking about people that wear bare feet on their hardwood floors. And, it's that connection and just being authentic. So I switched my gears this year, and I got a little more on the funny side, but like very fine line of funny and also, professional. And it's worked extremely well.
Sock watcher. Did you guys get that? I like that. We know that there's been, this has been on the mortgage broker side, and also I can imagine the realtor side, a flood of new professionals coming into the industry, and either they're coming in heavy with social media or whatever they're doing. How do you guys continue? And I know we've probably uncovered a lot of these answers just in our conversation, but how do you continue to separate yourself from the crowd and stand out above the rest?
Well, I think it kind of goes to some of the things we talked about, like what Ty even said, double down on marketing, right? So obviously we are kind of, long-standing history in the community. I really hone in on my community, so I emphasize that I'm born and raised in Maple Ridge. And when I started in 2009-ish, that was a bit more common. I probably wasn't honing in on that as much, but now that people have dispersed and moved around and this and that, a lot of my clients actually find it a bit surprising. They go, oh, wow, that's awesome, right? So that just builds that sort of trust there. So I know mortgage brokers are, like, I sell in Maple Ridge and you guys are more widespread. So that might be a little harder, but find sort of that niche that you can sort of separate yourself from there. That's what we use, is in Maple Ridge, we believe we spend more on marketing and our cell phones on everything. We're born and raised in the communities. We're involved there, right? So I have a team, so I'll emphasize the team and go, hey, I have a team, so the ball's not going to get dropped. We have plenty of manpower. Whereas a new agent without a team, they're going to go the opposite. They're going to say, you don't want to use a team because they got too many people. I'm going to give you the attention you need, right? So I don't think there's a right or wrong way. Wherever you're brand new or 5 years or 10 years, just figure out what it is that you can kind of separate yourself from the rest, right?
And I think too, like going back with like being in the community and doing community things, like if you live in Langley, maybe focus on your niche being in Langley and doing events in Langley, going to golf events, going to, school events, just surrounding yourself in that community, I would say.
Yeah, the best investment we did was the pop-up tents, the 10 by 10 I think they're like $1,200-$1,500. So we got a couple of them. We use them at our events. And then we even have donated them to like baseball societies where you pop it up and it says Jeremy and Chase and it has all our logos and everything like that. That's the best investment we've done. And I just don't see, I personally do not see the marketing out there for any brokers, as far as I'm not expecting you guys to run bus benches and things like that. I just don't see a lot of brokers advertising or involved in the community or sponsoring, right? Not as many as I would think. So I think it's somewhat of an untapped market to go back to some of that traditional marketing that everyone went away from.
Who was licensed in here in 2008? Was anybody in here in 2008? Okay, a few of you. 2008 was a big correction in the market, if you remember that. I was licensed, and it was the biggest opportunity ever to build your business in 2008. I tripled down on marketing in 2008. I just went all in. This is the exact same market as what we're seeing. We're going to see people peel back out of the business, and you have more opportunity to get in front of people. So when the market peels back and people are all upset, disappointed, miserable, you triple down. You triple down. That's what I've always done. I called up Pattison. I said, how many buses you got in Langley? They said, we got another 50. I took all 50. It's on a debit. I don't know how I'm going to pay the next bill, but I'm just taking the risk. I'm taking the risk. I know it'll pay off.
I mean, it's great. In the uncertain, tough times, most people just sit on their hands and do nothing. So if we're doubling down on our calls, if we're doubling down on our strategies, if we're doubling down on our marketing, that's what's going to get us through any storms like that. Just maybe a follow-up question to the marketing pieces. This actually does come up time to time for myself as well. Brokers coming up to me asking about paid leads versus organic growth. I know on the real estate side, it might be a little bit more predominant than on the broker side to have paid leads or advertising. What are your thoughts on paid versus just organic growth? Is it something that you feel is of value to go that direction, or would you just focus on your natural growth?
I mean, I can't really attest to that. Our marketing budget is very low. Like you Ty, I mean, like 90% of our business is actually referrals. So, I mean, our marketing budget is probably like less than 15 grand a year, which is kind of crazy, but that's just how we've grown our business over the last 8 years. So I can't really attest to the marketing dollars, but I mean, it works for a lot of people for sure.
Yeah, I think 65% of my business is referral based. The other 35 is all the advertising, but I do feel that advertising does work. It's not one thing, it's like everything. So I think there's no right and wrong way. Asking for a referral, doing seminars, asking for clients through Instagram, Facebook. I think it's not one thing, it's everything. So just keep on at it, right?
Yeah, we study ads and how they perform with our digital marketing company. If I was to give you, the best piece of spend that you could do, it'd be like a little about me video, show your lifestyle, show what you do for work. And you can run that as an ad on Google, which runs through YouTube as well. So YouTube video, which is called a skippable in-stream ad. If you're sitting in bed watching YouTube videos and you see that video that comes on and you're trying to skip it, that's the ads that we run. So I'm just running it for my personal brand. So yes, I spend a lot of money on digital ads, but it's almost like a digital ad referral, right? Like people are referring me because of those ads. And if I was to get you to spend a little bit of money, I would choose to spend it through YouTube, Google, or an Instagram 60-second reel. Just spend like $5 to $6 a day, run that for 30 days straight, spend $200 and just let it keep running. Okay, that growth of that video will be shared, more people will click on it, and all of a sudden it'll work. I mean, I tell this story when I present about digital ads. I was in the steam room at the YMCA in Surrey, sitting next to a guy that was in his 80s. He's an Indo-Canadian fellow. I didn't even know if he spoke English. And one day he looked up to me in the steam room and looked at me and said, "YouTube?" That connection that I had with that gentleman in life, I would have never connected with him in any other way other than him seeing my YouTube ads about real estate finance consistently when he woke up in the morning and clicked on it. I knew I had something working. So for me, that immediate response from him, I just knew it was working.
It's next level if he's watching that well in the sauna. For all of us in the room, commission sales, right? Moving forward, just maybe a quick piece of advice. What's the best way to be successful in commission sales?
Don't think about the money. Yeah. Think about the transaction.
And the relationship, for sure.
Yeah, that's everything, for sure.
So process over outcome.
Somebody has dirty carpets, somebody has this. I mean, for the mortgage space, you're not worrying about how the house looks. But I don't know, maybe there's some things that you can contribute for your client that's not a big financial gain, but it goes a long way.
Hey, awesome. Well, I want to, just for the sake of time, I want to wrap up here. Guys, thank you so much. You guys are just unbelievable guests, and we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. If you found value in this show, please subscribe to our channel on your preferred platform. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Your support is incredibly appreciated. We also welcome your reviews and feedback, which are crucial in helping us deliver outstanding educational content. Feel free to share your thoughts. A 5-star review would be fantastic if you think we earned it. Lastly, a vital announcement about Backpack Buddies, our chosen charity for 2025. This remarkable organization addresses a hidden hunger issue many are unaware of in British Columbia. While school districts provide meals during school hours, numerous children face food scarcity at home, particularly during the weekends. Backpack Buddies steps in to support these vulnerable children, ensuring they have easy to prepare, familiar food for weekends. This is achieved through collaborations with schools and an extensive distribution network. Your contribution can make a significant difference. With just $20, you can give a child in need a food bag from Backpack Buddies filled with enough meals and snacks to sustain them over the weekend and more. Once again, thank you for listening, and see you on the next one.